So one question I get with almost every client that I talk to is, you know what, Renee? That 5-in-1 sounds fantastic. I love having the structured program. I understand it. I feel fantastic. But what happens once I lose that weight? And why is this program different? And so I think at this point it's really important to understand that the program, Take Shape for Life, really is an entire program of teaching people, once again, Dr. Ryan, we go back to that education, teaching people what we've been calling these habits of health that you can utilize forever to maintain that weight loss and continue to create health in your life. And so Dr. Wayne Anderson, who is the medical director and co-founder of Take Shape for Life, who wrote, we've been talking about this book, this incredible book called Dr. A's Habits of Health. He did a brilliant thing when he was putting together this subsidiary company. And what he did was, he really wanted to study all the different aspects of weight management and creating health. And so one of the places that he went was to the National Weight Control Registry. And this was a sort of a whole thing that was put together by a couple of professors out at University of Colorado. And they asked people who had lost over 60 pounds or more and kept them off for over 2 years to answer a very extensive questionnaire. And the questionnaire had to do with it was really about what they were eating and all their different habits of health, because they wanted to see where they could get correlations, where they could see where there was things that were the same, so that we could begin to learn what these successful weight loss managers are doing. And in that questionnaire, they ended up with 6 very specific behaviors. And Dr. Anderson, who happens to love acronyms, used those and came up with the acronym he calls the BeSlim philosophy. And it is brilliant. And these really incorporate these habits of health. So it works so beautifully together. So let's just briefly go over what they are so that people can understand why this truly is different from any other program. So BeSlim, the B stands for eating breakfast.
Very important. We've already talked about eating breakfast and how critically important it is, and how often does that not happen. It's one of the things people say all the time, I eat wonderfully, doctor. Okay, what'd you have for breakfast? Oh, I didn't eat breakfast this morning. I mean, it's really quite comical. And the thing is, I think people truly believe that they do eat breakfast, or at least think they eat really well. Oh yeah, I had breakfast. I had it at 10. What time did you wake up? 5:30. So a lot of times, people don't even realize what they're doing. How about that E?
Absolutely. And one other thing about breakfast that I just love, that's great, I'll do the E in a second, my favorite is the E, of course, is that when people will say to me, Renee, I don't eat breakfast because when I eat breakfast, I'm hungry for the rest of the day.
And the question is, what are they eating for breakfast?
Exactly.
They're
cereal with the banana, right? And the whole thing. And so what this program teaches is you have to eat breakfast.
Oh, and a glass of orange juice.
Oh my goodness.
So and people will say that. They'll say, I eat wonderfully. I have cereal with a banana and orange juice. And that's like one of the great graphs that he does in here. That's the glucose insulin curve that's going zoop like this. So by an hour and a half, you're starving because all you ate was carb. It goes right in to storage in the glycogen, and before you know it, you're burning protein. You're burning fat, like we talked about in the last segment. So they're never accessing that fat. They're never accessing that fat, which is a real issue.
Exactly. So again, being on the 5-in-1 gets you to feel what it feels like to balance that blood sugar. So instead of having the orange juice and the cereal, maybe some egg whites and some strawberries or something. So you learn how to balance. In other words, that's part of our habit.
And to just diverge for just a second, when people are not eating the meal replacement later in stage 3 and stage 4, which we really haven't talked about, they learn how to balance that. And that's exactly. So you're not just eating the portion control meal replacement, but after you've been on the program, now you understand what to do. Like you said, it may be egg whites, or it may even be an egg, but it may be a piece of fruit, but it's going to have some sort of protein in there. And then, most importantly, 2-3 hours later, you're going to need to know what to do.
Okay, exactly. So we love breakfast and we love teaching the balance and how to do that, whether you're still using your meal replacements or using food. So let's go on to our E in BeSlim, which is exercise. And so often people will come to me, because I'm also a fitness educator, thinking that they can burn off all their body fat, especially if they have over 10, 15, 20 pounds to lose. Oh, Renee, I'm not going to worry about the food. I'll just exercise. And I'm like, well, let me see. How many hours in the day do you have to exercise? Because if you're just using exercise to lose weight, that's going to take you a lot of time. But it is a huge habit of health for maintaining the weight loss and obviously for optimal health.
Okay, and let me interject, and I think all we're going to get is a B and E.
Yeah.
This is going to be the B segment, because this is very important. One of the things that Dr. Anderson points out in his book is that if you are, a lot of people think you can lose weight with exercise. You really can't lose weight with exercise, and that's important. A lot of people say, Doc, you're wrong. I said, I'm not, and I'm going to tell you why. If in fact you want to exercise, how many, if you are capable, as Dr. Anderson says, of doing a marathon, how many kilocalories do you burn in a marathon? About 2,500, according to Dr. Anderson.
Right,
I think
okay.
he's right. Well, the problem is you need to lose about, and I may be off exactly on the numbers, I think it's about 140 to 200, to lose 10 to 20 pounds. You need to burn about 140 to 210,000 calories. So how many marathons do you have to do to lose? I mean, that's a lot. I don't know about you, but I'm in shape and I can't do a marathon. So it would be really tough to do that.
Right.
So in the next segment, let's talk about the slim part of this, since I think we're running out of time.
That sounds great. Thanks. We'll see you in the next segment.